All right, here we are. Welcome to Sunday Night Sessions. It's so great to be back. My name's Tracy Jameson, along with my co-host and business partner, good friend Val Smith. We've got a really great treat for you tonight. We have a gentleman who we've had a great opportunity of getting to know. I've worked with him, become friends with him. And I tell you, this guy's got such a list of things on his dossier. I don't even know where to begin. In military special forces, he's got a medical background. He's an athlete. He's a master hypnotist. He's an entertainer, public speaker, and he's also a corporate trainer. And we're really fortunate to have him on with us tonight. His name is Tom Kaz. Now, before we get to Tom, I want to bring on Val and let him set the tone and the stage a little bit. We're just going to have a heck of a lot of fun here, and always have a disclaimer for Sunday Night Sessions because it's never scripted, so we really never know what direction it's going to go, folks. We really don't. We're not always politically correct, but we're certainly guaranteed to entertain and educate you and talk about the matters that really matter the most. And so with that being said, Val, I'm going to turn the floor over to you before we really get this show rolling. So, buddy, over to you.
Thanks, Tracy, and it's great to see everybody's wearing their favorite Halloween mask tonight. Outside of myself, I'm the only normal person on the call tonight, which is kind of, it's status quo, I guess. No, honestly, great to see you all here tonight. What a great group of people. Welcome to Mentoring Millionaires. Tom Kaz is out there tonight. As Tracy said, he's got a resume that would blow your mind. Tom can do it all. I listened to him speak. I just want to give you a little rundown my impressions of Tom. I hear him speak, and I sit here. And I say to Tracy, I said, I thought I was good. People say that I'm pretty good at speaking and stuff. I said, this guy blows me out of the water. His intellect, his sense of humor, his posturing skills, the way he can, transition phrases. He's just a master at creating a canvas with words and vocabulary and intellect. I'm really impressed. He'll have you laughing sometimes. You just never know when Tom's going to go off. And that's got to be a part of living in Las Vegas, too. He's been through a lot in his life, the good, the bad, the ugly, so he's no different than all of us. We've experienced all kinds of interesting things in our lives, but Tom's been able to take all those experiences and, catapult it into great success of what he does. And now I'm really excited about talking a little bit about Tom tonight because we plan to have a higher ticket product. We see a lot of the high ticket business opportunities out there. The big problem with the high ticket business opportunities out there is they don't have products that we think have immense value or any value at all in my books. And one of the things that I really love about what we have with Tom here is you heard Tracy talk to you about him training. You've heard about his showmanship. And you're going to get a little taste of Tom tonight. So this is kind of like the sampler. You're kind of getting a cocktail here tonight. And then our dreams, our ambitions here at Mentoring Millionaires is to have you all come to a live event. And preferably, I would like to do it in this is a tribute to the Caribbean, depending on how you want to say it. I call it the Caribbean up here in Canada, the Caribbean, I guess, if you're American, or maybe you guys can translate that a little bit later. But it'd be nice to maybe do something really cool, fun, and exciting. When I got involved in this industry, it wasn't about staying at home. The picture that was painted for me was about traveling the world, going to places that you've never seen before, making it entertaining and fun. And, thinking about creating a second product for Mentoring Millionaires, we could have had something really serious. We could have thrown in a whole bunch of not so valuable digital products and just kind of create a gifting program out of it. But, that's not our style. That's not what Tracy and I are about. We're about immense value. We're about people. We're about blowing people's minds. And thinking about a phase 2 product, the really cool thing is we get an amazing portfolio with Tom. We get an amalgamation of all kinds of very interesting creatures and characters all in one. He might bring 19 personalities over to an island. You never know. But it would be great. When you listen to him train, when you listen to his audios, you guys haven't really had the opportunity to hear him in action yet, unless you heard the interview in the back office or maybe one of our past hangouts. But to see Tom in action, to see people, charge the stage the way they do, it's really exciting. I've seen hypnotists before, but I'll tell you this. I've never seen 100 people rush the stage. I've seen people that were kind of maybe, and I'm always a very cynical, skeptical person when it comes to prompting and, can this and can that and setting the stage. But I don't think you can set a stage with 100+ people sitting in the audience, totally rigged, as they do with magic and stuff in Vegas. Tom's the real deal. And to see that many people, there's no way Tom would have had an opportunity to prep them, to rehearse them, can them, or whatever it is. These were spontaneous ticket holders. They were invited outside privately to the event, had nothing to do with Tom. He was just brought in and kind of at the last minute, so to speak. Wasn't sure whether it was going to go off. And a ton of people showed up, and it was great. You'll see the video. I don't know if we have it in the back office yet. If we don't, you got to see it. He actually does some crazy things through hypnosis. All right? This is not about the power of positive thinking. This is not an Anthony Robbins show. This is not, an Eric Worre, hey, let's get a whole bunch of speakers come in and hype you up for a couple hours. This is the real deal. He can do things with the mind that will blow your mind. And so I think you all better be on your best behavior tonight, because you never know what he could send your way through the video. You might be doing things that you don't even know you're doing here on this video camera. No, I'm just teasing about that. Just kidding about that. But Tom can get you to do stuff. And hypnosis is very powerful. It works. And when you understand it, it's really something else. The other thing that I'm really excited about tonight, and then I promise I'll stop talking because I do talk too much. The thing that I'm really excited about tonight, what I'm really excited about, and everything we do at Mentoring Millionaires here is, and I've been doing this all my life as a trainer. We've always been leading the pack. Nobody does what we do. Nobody, everyone copied Mentoring Millionaires. Well, they're copying it now. Mentors in Motion in the past. I get the two mixed up because they were both combined back in the day. So we're leading the pack. We're setting a blazing trail. We're pioneering. And tonight, Tom's going to talk about neuromarketing. And neuromarketing is just an unbelievable topic that's going to, it's just going to catch a wave. Nobody out there in the industry is talking about it yet. And that's because they're not at this level of consciousness. They've never been around this training before. The trainers on the internet are not yet up to speed with the level of information and, substance that we're bringing to the table. So this is going to be groundbreaking. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to ferme la bouche, which means shut my mouth. And I'm going to bring in the great Tom Kaz, and he's going to rock it out, see if he's going to steal second base, third base, and maybe hit a grand slam tonight and take us through the realm. Tom, what do you got? Happy your sleeves tonight, man.
Hello. How's everybody doing? It's good to see. We got like 30 plus, 40 plus people on this broadcast tonight. Can everybody hear me okay? See me okay? All good? Fantastic. So basically what I want to do tonight is introduce you to some scientific explanations about how, over the years, sales has changed dramatically, and buyers have evolved. The way we sell to people has evolved. The ability to sell online is a completely new industry that's evolved over the last 20 years. But what it really boils down to is I've spent the last 30 years of my life learning how to communicate more effectively with the subconscious mind. Most of us have learned about or heard about neurolinguistics programming or being more persuasive. But at the end of the day, what I've done in terms of learning hypnosis, both on stage and off stage in a clinical setting in hypnotherapy, as well as on a stage and hypnotizing hundreds, if not thousands of people over the years, tens of thousands of people, is how to actually get the brain to respond to this process that we call hypnosis. And hypnosis is kind of a misnomer because the word hypnos was a Greek phrase for sleep, and people are not asleep. They're wide awake. There's no way that I could get, as Val mentioned, 15 to 18 people dancing around and doing crazy things on stage in Vegas with 700 to 800 to 1,000 people making all kinds of noise, just having a good time. And the reason for that is that it's a state of consciousness that's an altered state of consciousness. But really what tonight was about and what we wanted to do was to try to introduce you to this science of neuromarketing. Now, I have a program that I've developed, and we're going to be making it available through Mentoring Millionaires, called subconscious selling or mental edge selling, basically. And my goal with that is to take 30 years of understanding the hypnosis aspects of how the brain works, the subconscious mind, 11 years of working in the field of radiology where I actually did studies on CT and MRI, could see the brain and actually see what's happening when it's stimulated in certain ways. And what this new science has done over the last few years is it's actually hooked up individuals, consumers, to EEGs, electroencephalographs, and MRIs to see what words, what phrases, what visual imagery stimulates the brain. And at the end of the day, I think we all could agree that stimulating the five senses is so critical in getting people to be emotionally engaged in what's happening. Because remember, at the end of the day, people buy with emotion and justify with logic. But the scope is changing now. We have to be more effective at communicating. We have to understand how the brain works, how people are buying instinctively versus being persuaded with, would Thursday morning or Thursday afternoon be better for you? People are too smart for that now. So what I'd like to challenge everyone to do over the next hour or so, whatever time we spend together, is diligently just write down and take notes about some of the concepts that I'm going to share with you. We're not going to go through everything tonight because, quite honestly, that's what the training programs will be about. What we are going to do is explain what hypnosis is and what it isn't. And we're going to explain what neuromarketing is and what it does, and why it's so important for us on this particular broadcast tonight to begin to embrace and learn and apply these concepts, not only in our business life, but also in our personal life, our professional lives, obviously, communicating with our spouse, communicating with our kids, our coworkers, our colleagues, our prospects, and hopefully eventually our customers. So without further ado, Val, I'm going to jump right into this. Is there anything else you want to add? Because once I get started, you know me, I'm like a steamroller. I'm going to keep rolling.
Oh, man, I am just totally stoked. I've been waiting this call since we planned it. And I know Steph's just kind of bursting at the seams there. If you take a look at Steph's face, it is so serious. She's ready to take notes. She's going to break 3 pens here. So let's make it happen, Tom.
We're getting ready to enter the matrix. Everybody see this? And if you remember, the matrix was about this whole dimensional environment that existed where you were living in this subconscious world and things were happening beyond our belief. And so what I want to do tonight is again, challenge everyone to take some notes. We're going to start off by talking about what neuromarketing is. Over the studies that have been done in research facilities and neurologists, what they found is that our brain has 3 basic elements of the brain. We have an emotional brain where it appeals to the emotion. We have a logical brain, which is our, when you talk about the subconscious, our conscious mind does not have the ability to do anything other than just take the input that it gets from our 5 senses. So when you see something, hear something, smell something, taste something, or feel something, we know it's real. I know this is a real remote because I can touch it, feel it, taste it. It's right here. But our subconscious mind is like a computer. It only has the ability to accept or reject what you put into it. And through hypnosis, what we're doing is we're bypassing this little firewall called the critical factor. And the critical factor is this little firewall that says, is this real or is this not? Is this going to hurt me or is this not? And if not, if it's going to move me in the direction of what I want versus what I don't want, I'm going to lower my firewall. I'm going to suspend my disbelief, and I'm going to allow that suggestion or that information to enter my subconscious so that it becomes real for me. And in sales, which obviously hypnosis is communication and persuasion is basically the ultimate form of communication, we want to appeal to that subconscious part of the individual that you're prospecting to and you're pitching your ideas to, because we want them to feel compelled to buy versus being sold. So let's jump right into it. What hypnosis does, as I mentioned before, is there's a firewall. And this firewall that exists is called the critical factor. And through a long, drawn-out watch going back and forth or long-term induction, it takes 20 minutes. I can relax someone just like we all had when we were back in high school or college and fell asleep in a class. I can bore you to death and enter your subconscious mind. But when you're in a sales environment, whether you're online, in a video, or live and in person, you don't have that luxury. You have to do it through your questions. You have to do it through the way you phrase your information. You have to get the buyer to feel comfortable with you and have that rapport that you establish with them so they let their guard down and allow that critical factor to basically move out of the way so you can enter information into the subconscious mind so it becomes their idea to buy versus being sold. So what we're going to talk about are 6 stimuli that appeal to the part of the brain we call the reptilian brain, the oldest part of the brain. It's been around for literally millions of years, that drives the instincts that create buying behavior. And when all of these studies were done and talks of how we communicate more effectively to the subconscious, there were 6 things that were identified that we called stimuli. And again, my goal tonight was to simply introduce you to these concepts. But as we go through, I want you to take some notes. And eventually what we'll do is we'll provide you with a summary of this evening's training so that you can take this information and embrace it, send in questions, and I can answer them for you. But my goal tonight was to simply do this, is to teach you how to scientifically capture the attention of your prospect, is to scientifically convince that prospect that what you have is something that's going to appeal to a pleasure sense of their mind and their amygdala, the part of the brain that's stimulated by chocolate or sex or winning or having money, and also scientifically close that person. Because if you do all of these steps properly, what you're really doing is you're getting them to feel so comfortable with you that you're making it almost as if it's so completely and totally natural to do whatever it is you're asking them to do. This is how you get someone to change behavior, to quit smoking or lose weight or be a better athlete. They have to want to do it in the beginning. But how many of our prospects don't want what we're necessarily selling? So you don't have that luxury once again. So here are the 6 stimuli that we're going to talk about. The first one, and we've heard this before, the first thing that they found that was very interesting about the stimulus that appeals to the reptilian or the crocodile part of the brain is to be completely self-centered in your presentations to your prospects. The word you is so powerful. This message that you're delivering, you have to make it appeal to them. Don't talk about yourself. Don't talk about other people. Talk about them. Ask them questions. For example, when you're talking about someone making a serious buying decision, as an example for timeshare, you can ask a question such as in the very beginning, let me ask you a question, Val, and maybe we can role play for a moment. Val, before we get started, just wanted to ask you a quick question. Is there a car that you've always wanted but really never been able to buy? Maybe a dream car, like a Corvette or a Ferrari. If there was one car that you really wanted in your lifetime, what would that car be?
Bugatti.
A Bugatti, a $2 million Bugatti.
Yeah.
Well, what if I could show you a way that you could buy a $2 million Bugatti today at the prices that it might have been 25 years ago? Would that be a great opportunity for you or what?
You got my attention.
I've got your attention. Because what I'm doing is I'm appealing to the natural sense that most people know that inflation has taken place over 25 years. And you break it down to something not so drastic or dramatic or so exotic like a Bugatti. Let's talk about a Corvette. What if I could show you how you can get a Corvette today, a 2016 Z51 Corvette, fully loaded at the price that it came out at in 1962? Would that be something you'd be interested in?
Absolutely.
I'm sure it would, and most people would. That's why today I'm going to show you how you can pay for your vacations now versus what they're going to cost in 25 years. So we're basically taking something people have a contextual representation of, and we're putting it into their court and making it about them and their emotions so they can connect with it. So the first thing is to be self-centered about them. Use the word you as often as you can. You're going to feel fantastic. You're going to understand this probably better than most. Use the word you as often as possible. Become self-centered in your presentation. Number two is contrast. Be very clear in the facts that you deliver to the people that you're trying to present to. And what I mean by that is don't be ambiguous in black and white. If you say something such as our company is one of the best companies in the industry for providing online and offline training to help you learn not only what it takes to be successful, but what to do. And here's how I can show you that. Versus our company is one of the best companies in the industry. If you look us up, you can find that we've helped a lot of people. That's very ambiguous. Be very specific, black and white, no ambiguity in your conversations. When you do that, it makes it very easy and very simple for a buyer to understand not only what you're presenting, but to give them a very easy decision to make that this is real, this is tangible, and you're contrasting real versus imagined. You're showing something that's actually happening or is going to happen based on actual experiences and testimonials that you may have from the past. So make sure that when you present your information, that you have stark contrast between what it is you're presenting and why what you're presenting is better than everything else that's out there. As an example, with Mentoring Millionaires, why is Mentoring Millionaires different? Why is it better? Well, most network marketing trainers that are out there are simply taking information that's been in the industry for 25, 30 years. Val, myself, Steph, Tracy, a lot of us have been around that long. What we're trying to do is get you to move past the information stage to the application stage. We're giving you tangible tools. We're giving you capture pages. We're giving you ringless voicemail. We're giving you hypnotic and neuromarketing sales training so you can present more effectively. And if you can name one other company that's doing that, I'd love to know about it, because right now, Mentoring Millionaires is the only company that offers that. That's a very stark contrast to what everyone else is offering. Not to say what they have is bad. It's just to say what we have is better and what we have is different. Number three, tangible input. The old brain doesn't process written language. We like to take things, it doesn't like flexible solutions. It likes a very integrated approach. It wants to be very specific and very targeted. It wants black and white, easy to understand. Simplicity is the key. So when you give a concrete idea about making more money, having more time, this product is unbreakable. When you give those kind of statements, it's got to be tangible. It's got to be real. And you can make it real for people by being effective in presenting to them in this way. This is number four. Number four is very, very important. When you look at a presentation of someone, let's say over the course of an hour, and in this particular instance, I'm presenting to everyone on this call over the next 45 minutes to an hour. What I like to do when I'm presenting in person is break it into 4 or 5 segments of 10 to 15 minutes in length. And to give you an example, I'd like everyone to think about what I'm about to say. Just really pay attention to it. 9, 27, 14, 11, 63, 79, 81, and 12. Now, anybody on the call could answer this, but I'm not sure who's on audio. But Val, what was the first number? You remember? It's 9?
I think it said 9.
I think it was 9 because I couldn't see if you said that or not. Tracy, are you still with us? What was the last number?
Good one.
Good one.
I was trying real hard in the middle and I lost.
Yeah, what was the last number?
12.
12.
Wow. What was the fifth number? Anybody?
No.
The reason that that's hard to do is I spat them out really quickly. But people lose interest. And if you can get people, when you're looking at the interest level of someone in a presentation, they basically have an interest in the beginning. As an example for a sales presentation, in the beginning, it's discovery and it's rapport building and it's we're friends and we're buddies and we're all. But over time, you get down here and you ask all these questions and their interest starts to wane. And by the time you get into presenting the real information, the real benefits that are going to appeal to their croc brain or the reptilian brain to get them to want to buy, by the time you get to the point where you're asking them to close, they're going to forget the emotions they were attached to earlier in the presentation. So what's best is to present in small cycles. You know, if you have a student that's studying in your home, whether it's someone in high school or college and they're struggling, the science has proven in the brain that if we take smaller study breaks, 15 to 20 minutes and 3 to 5 minute breaks, you'll retain more information than you will if you do a long period of study. That's how we all studied growing up. I used to do marathon study sessions and I would be so stressed and so much anxiety going into a test because I had so much information in my head that it was all this big ball of information versus little chunks. We can retain 5 plus or minus 2 chunks of information. If you study NLP, that's what you're going to learn, is to present in small bit-sized chunks. So number 4 is have more beginnings and endings in your presentations. Keep it short, keep it simple, and keep it to the point. Number 5, most important, our subconscious mind can process 11 million bits of information at any given moment. 11 million bits of information. Our conscious mind, on the other hand, can only process 40 bits of information. So again, you've probably all heard or seen this graphic before of an iceberg in the water, right? We talk about the subconscious mind is 90% of our potential is in our subconscious and the other 10% is above the water. So if we're going to appeal to someone, we have to stimulate that part of the brain that dominates 3/4 of all of the energy in the brain that we're using, and that's the visual cortex. You have to stimulate people with visuals. As an example, if I were giving this presentation live, I wouldn't be talking directly to the camera. In fact, if you look right here, I had a number of slides I'd prepared for you today. The only problem is that they kind of drown out the video a little bit as we're talking here. But I'll just show you one. When you see this graphic right here, what you see is a picture of a brain with a button on it. Why do I want that graphic to show up? I want you to think about what we're learning today is to learn how to push the buy button on the brain. That's a visual image that you can take and process very easily. So again, when you're presenting information about mentoring millionaires, show people the website, show people the picture of the tools, show people the statistics, give them something visual that they can embrace, because that takes 3/4 of what the brain is using to process any bits of information. So the visual stimulus that you provide has a huge impact on how well it's going to affect and appeal to the reptilian or the crocodile part of the buying part of the brain. Number 6, most important, is emotion. Now, for those of you that are on this particular broadcast, I want to just appeal to your sense of understanding of emotion, what emotion is. Emotion is actually emotion, energy in motion. And if you think about the power of emotions, most of us that are here today have had strong emotions in our lives, whether it's been love or hate or anger. We could all right now, if I wanted everyone on this call to experience some form of an emotion, I'd ask you to close your eyes. I'd ask you to go back in time and think about where you were when you met your spouse, or when you had your first child, or when you had your first kiss, or when you bought your first car. And we could all go back, and in those moments that are so embedded in our subconscious minds and in our conscious minds, we can think of the colors and the shapes and the sounds and the people and what we were wearing, because those moments are hardcore embedded, hardwired into our minds. So when you talk about appealing to people's emotions, you have to use the 5 senses to appeal to people's emotions. You have to listen to what they're saying to you. You have to feed the information back to them so that they can understand it. As an example, if a person is trying to make a decision to buy a car, what are they buying? Are they buying a car, or are they buying transportation, right? If a person's going to invest in becoming a part of Mentoring Millionaires, why are they buying into Mentoring Millionaires? Are they buying because they want to sell ringless voicemail? Not really. Are they buying because they want to sit and listen to a whole lot of information? No. Do they want to jump online and listen to a guy like me spout out a bunch of information real quick and just overwhelm you with information and just abundantly overwhelm you with just data? Not really. What they want is to get rich, is to make money, is to learn from people like Val and Tracy that have done it, and to listen to and leverage their information and their knowledge. So when you're appealing to someone, you make sure you appeal to their emotions. So let me go through those again. Number one is to make sure you use the word you a lot in your presentations. It's all about you, what you're going to get from this, how I'm going to help you achieve your dreams, how I'm going to help you learn how to leverage your time. Number two is to create stark contrast. Make sure that when you say something, that it's contrasted against anything else that's out there, why it's better, and make it very clear for them, very easy and simple for them to understand. Number three is show them tangible input. Data is important, but if you're going to talk about statistics, don't do it in the form of words and sentences. Do it in the form of graphs and pictures. Remember, 3/4 of the brain is using pictures to communicate information to the subject. Number four is make more beginnings and endings in your presentations. Try to break it down into small, digestible chunks so that they can take that information, absorb it, and integrate it into their minds before you move on to the next point. Otherwise, it just becomes a big melting pot. It's overwhelming, and they won't remember anything. Number five is the visual cortex. Stimulate the visual cortex. When you start talking to someone, paint pictures. Not everyone is visual, but most people have a visual cortex that is stimulated by great word pictures. Painting pictures for them. Can you tell me about the last vacation you had? What was it about that vacation that you enjoyed? Can you tell me about the first time you made your first financial goal, whether it was $1,000 or $10,000 or $1 million? How did that make you feel? Can you remember what it was like to deposit that check? Or could you remember to look at your bank statement? You've got to bring people back to an emotional state that they were in when they made a decision to buy something or do something. Because in order for them to go back to that moment, they have to access that state neurologically. So we have to teach people to do that. And number six is emotion. Make sure that you're asking questions about what makes them feel. Two things. The psychology of selling, life, and communication is two things. People will move towards pleasure and away from pain. People will move towards pleasure and away from pain. Not everybody is stimulated by moving towards having wealth, but most people might be stimulated by not being broke and living underneath an interstate and eating from a garbage can. So you've got to figure out which way do they sway. Do you want to move them towards having nice cars, nice homes, travel, education, good schools, things like that? Or do you want to compel to the other side of the person by saying, imagine what it would feel like if you didn't take advantage of this opportunity. If you haven't changed anything in your life up until now, what would happen differently? You've got to find out what those things are by being able to ask questions and appeal to their emotions. So those are the 6 stimulus, if you guys wrote those down. Now what we're going to talk about are the 4 stages that you can follow to appeal to the reptilian part of the brain.
Hey, Tom.
Use this methodology. Yes.
Very quickly, speaking about emotions, I see that you're very emotionally caught up in the feeling of love, because I'm seeing a lot of red, and that tells me that there's a lot of love in your life. So if you could go back to the other slide at the beginning, it'll bring you right back into the great natural colors that you exist in.
There we go.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's the high-end studio we built today. You know.
Yeah, right on, man.
All right, so we're going to move into the 4 steps to success. All right, so I said it earlier, and again, if you want to really dig into this and you want to learn about neuromarketing, there's 4 steps. Now, we understand what the stimulus are now. We've talked about the stimulus, the ways that you can stimulate the mind, stimulate the reptilian part of the brain, the buying part of the brain. Now we're going to go through the 4 processes that make that particular part of the brain want to buy. Number 1 is you've got to diagnose that pain. As I just said earlier, you've got to find out what is it that's causing them pain. Maybe it's their bank account. Maybe it's their car. Maybe it's their relationships. Maybe it's freedom. Most people want more time, right? But they're not willing to invest time to get more time. So, and listening to people like Val, listening to the programs that are in the back of Mentoring Millionaire, it teaches you how to change your perspective. You know, a lot of people have never learned how to shift paradigms in a presentation. Let me give you a paradigm shift story. If you've never heard this before, you can use this to shift someone's paradigm. Here's how you can do that. Imagine that you're sitting on a bus and you're in the middle of a bustling city and you're on your way home. You're tired. You've been at work all day long and you're sitting there and all you can think about is getting home, kicking off the shoes, changing clothes, watching a good football game and having a glass of wine, whatever the case may be. But for some reason, this idiot over here has got 3 kids and they're jumping around, they're making noise, they're playing with toys, they're writing on the walls and nobody's controlling them. He's not controlling them. Everybody's just watching in absolute disbelief. Why is this happening? Why doesn't this guy control his kids? And finally, someone has the ability and the nerves to buck up and say, hey, why don't you get control of your kids? And he says, you know what? I'm so sorry. We're on our way home from the hospital. Their mom just passed away, and I haven't got the guts to tell them yet. I don't even know how. And all of a sudden, everyone on the bus or the train begins to hear this story about what just happened to this man and why his kids are acting crazy, and he doesn't know what to do because he's in a state of shock. And so everyone starts to empathize and sympathize with this gentleman. And they start to figure out ways to occupy the kids, to get them to settle down, draw pictures, tell stories, whatever the case may be. But that immediate paradigm shift took them from being angry and frustrated to compelling them to be more empathetic and more sympathetic. So learn how to shift paradigms, but diagnose the pain in your prospects. Diagnose the pain by asking better questions. You have to find the pain by asking them, how would this change your life? If you didn't do anything, how would your life change? If you did this, how could your life change? Get them to talk about it. So diagnose the pain. Number one is differentiate your claims. We talk about how you can substantiate, as I said earlier, what makes mentoring millionaires different or better than whatever else is out there. It's not just the information, it's the application. And we're going to hammer that as we continue to build our relationships with our organizations. Is we're not just going to give you information and expect you to figure it out on your own. We're going to give you information, then we're going to show you how to use it and apply it every single time that you go out and talk to a prospect, or go online, or post a social media posting, or take a training class like this. It's not about information, it's about application. So we're gonna show you that, and that's what differentiates us from every other mentoring program out there, every other network marketing training, or every other online training, is we're actually gonna show you how to communicate more effectively with the subconscious and with your prospects. Number three, demonstrate the game. Now, that might be hard for me to do in this particular setting, but Val and Tracy have gotten to know me over the last few months, and they'll tell you that as a part of our relationship, one of the things I do is I send them stuff almost weekly. I'd say, what, Val? I send you some kind of an article. I send you some kind of a video, something of myself, something that I've done, something that I've recently been interviewed about, because I want to demonstrate to you guys and to our team that this is what people are saying about me, and this is the results they're getting. As I just shared with you guys, the New York Life opportunity that just came up. You know, I'm working with $1 billion company to help over 100 sales reps present more effectively in a very competitive landscape. So I'm demonstrating that to my clients. When you hire me, this is what you get, this is what the others have gotten, and this is what you can expect to get as well. So the expectations are set. And number four is deliver this information to the old part of the brain, the reptilian part of the brain. The more pain you can tap into in your presentation, the more effective you're going to be. If you've got 2 or 3 competitors that sell the same thing, your effectiveness is divided by how effectively you can divide yourself and tap into that pain for them. You've got to access that pain. Once you've diagnosed the pain, you've delivered the information, you're going to basically find there's 3 areas that's going to cause them to want to make a decision to do something with you. Number one, it's going to be financial. They're going to use the croc part of their brain to figure out, logistically, is this going to be something that's going to make me money, save me money, whatever the case may be. So one of the decisions that's going to appeal to them is it's got to be financial. Number 2, it's got to be strategic. If I do this, if I talk to 10 people every day and I get 1 new person to sign up, or if I talk to 20 and get 2, is this going, if I do that every single day or every single week, strategically, am I going to reach my goal? You've got to be able to prove that by providing the information. And number 3 is personal. What's going to happen as a result of making a financial decision that executes a system with a strategy that's going to allow you to reach your personal goals? So you've got to appeal at a very high level to those 3 parts in a presentation to appeal to the croc part of the brain. You got to unveil the true source of the pain. You got to establish your expertise by asking good questions. And you've got to establish really valuable trust with the croc part of the brain. If they like you and they trust you and you've given them no reason to say no, they'll buy from you. And this is scientifically proven. Okay, so those are some of the things that you can do as you're moving through these presentations. Now, when I talk about hypnotic selling, and again, we're touching on a lot of information tonight, but my objective was simply this. There's a better way to communicate. There's a better way to sell through video, through auditory, through visual, through the written word, if you know the structure of communication. And I've spent the last 30 years of my life learning how to effectively alter the state of consciousness in a sales presentation or in an on-stage or off-stage setting. And so what we're doing right now is we're giving you a brush stroke on the canvas of some of the strategies that are effective in a very high level of neurology and marketing. Now I'm going to break it down to some very simple things for you. Some very simple things for you. When you're dealing with someone and you're talking with them about whatever project you're involved with, whatever product you're marketing, whatever system that you're building, when you speak to them as differently than I've done tonight, but it's only because we have a limited amount of time, make sure that you try to pace their rate of speech. Make sure that you lead them into a place where they're comfortable. Not everybody can process information. Like Val and I, Tracy gets on the phone with Val and I, and it's like a chess game. Like we keep popping the timer. We keep popping the timer because it's him, then it's me, then it's him, then it's me. And at the end of the day, a lot of information's been exchanged. So we have to remember that not everyone can process information at the same speed. So if you're appealing to the reptilian or the croc part of the brain, you've got to remember to match and mirror the speed, the pace, the phrases, the inflection, the breathing of the person that you're presenting to. Whether it's online or offline, you can at least set a pace and a pattern that allows that person to hear what you're saying, absorb it, analyze it, and go past any critical factor that might prevent them from making a buying decision with you later on down the line. Number 2 is anytime you're presenting to someone in a hypnotic sense, remember, we're trying to bypass the critical factor of the conscious mind. How do you do that? Well, you do that by doing one thing. Number 1, you grab their attention very quickly, which is scientifically capturing their attention by using those things I described earlier. Number 2, you convince them with the tangible facts, the visual cortex, the data, the statistics that you can put in front of them that show you why what you have is better than anything else out there without question. And last, close. All of us have been taught this in some form of sales training, but if you've done all of the steps right up until the very end, there really is no such thing as a close. Because if you're closing someone, you're working too hard to convince them to do something. All you want to do is ask questions that get them to say yes. I'll give you an example. And Val, we talked about this in our session about 2 months ago. When I'm on stage, this is what I say. I'm giving you the secrets of my Las Vegas show. When I'm on stage, I got 20 people and 500 out here who've never, ever seen me before in their lives, and they don't trust me, and they don't think I'm real. The first thing I have to say to the folks on stage is, in a moment, we're going to begin relaxing you. I got to set an expectation. In a moment, I'm going to begin relaxing you step by step. As I do relax you, simply take a deep breath and concentrate. I don't tell them when to take the deep breath. I just do this, and they start breathing with me. We start breathing together. Now, what am I doing? I'm leading them, and I'm pacing them. Number 2, as I'm getting them to focus on one central idea, while I'm presenting this to you right now, you may be thinking, this is a lot of information. How am I ever going to learn how to put all this into a sales presentation or into a presentation to anyone about anything? Here's how. This isn't the first time you're going to hear it, and it's not the first time you're going to have access to it. So let me put your mind at ease by letting you know that you're going to have access to this in the back office in a lot of different ways, whether it's in a booklet, a video, or in other seminars or interviews that Val, myself, and Tracy will do for you. So when I'm on stage, I want to say 3 things that they cannot deny. They're called undeniable truths. Here's how I do it on stage. In a moment, I'm going to begin relaxing you step by step. As I do, simply focus and concentrate. I'm setting an expectation. Number 1, taking control of the group. Number 2, as you begin to relax, you become aware of yourself sitting in the chair. Comfortable, relaxed, safe, and secure. So I take away any of the danger, any of the natural croc brain stuff of, am I in danger here? Am I at risk here by being on stage? I might be embarrassed, but I'm on stage, I'm under the big lights. I don't want to embarrass myself or my family or anyone else, but I'll just follow along and see if this guy can really get me in hypnosis. So the first thing I say is something they can't say no to is, you're sitting in the chair, relaxed, comfortable, safe, and secure. Number 2, as you're sitting in the chair, you become more aware of your feet resting on the floor beneath you. Now, I've only had one time in 1,000 shows where I've had a midget and their feet didn't touch the floor. And the first thing she started doing was kicking, going, my feet ain't touching the floor. I don't know why you keep saying that. So you know what I did? I went over and I got a box by the monitor. I turned it up and said, now your feet are touching the floor. She goes, okay. And she stopped talking and everybody went right back into state. Number 3, you become aware of your breathing, becoming slow and rhythmic. And the last thing I say, the 4th thing I say is what they're going to do. As you relax, let go, and go deeper into hypnosis and let yourself go. So you become aware of yourself in the chair, safe and secure, alleviating their subconscious mind's considerations for risk or concern of danger. Number 2, they can't say no to that. It's true. It's an undeniable truth. Number 2, you become aware of your feet resting on the floor beneath you, unless you're a midget. Number 3, As you do become aware of your feet on the floor, your breathing becomes more slow, more relaxed. As you let go and go deeper in hypnosis. If you use this in a sales setting, you'll find that it's very persuasive, very persuasive. As you mentioned earlier, Val, you're interested in learning powerful ways to enhance your communication and improve your persuasion and influence with your prospects. Is that right? Absolutely. So that's the kind of questions you want to ask. Now, from a hypnotic standpoint, yes, I do that on stage. It's a very structured situation. But remember, I've got 500 to 600 people who've paid a $60 to $80 ticket who don't know me, don't trust me, and probably don't even like me. And half of them are drunk. And I got to get them to like me, trust me, and come on stage and then give me 8 minutes of their time to make them do something for 75 minutes that makes them look crazy and I get paid. So if I can do that, is it possible that I can teach you how to take a few minutes of your prospect's mind and time and redirect their focus into a way that's going to make them feel good with you, feel good about you, and want to buy from you? And the answer is yes. And how I can say this, the answer is yes, is that neuroscientists at Berkeley University, Stanford University, UCLA, all around the United States, neuromarketing is the fastest growing segment of subconscious influence and persuasion in the world. And what we're going to begin to offer through this Mentoring Millionaires program is actual information, integration, and application of these techniques. Tonight was a brushstroke on the canvas. It was a very light brushstroke on the canvas of some of the stimuluses that we can appeal to, some of the language patterns that we can develop, some of the ideas that we use in hypnotic communication. And folks, I'm here to tell you, when you sit down and you hear these things and you use these things and you try these things on each other in a presentation setting or at home, working with your kids, try this. If you were ever a kid before, which we all were, or you ever worked with kids before, try saying this to a child. Hey, do your homework now. Eat your peas now. Take out the garbage now. What happens is they resist because now's at the end of that sentence. Try putting the word now in the front end of that sentence and say, hey, Johnny, now eat your peas. Hey, Johnny, now take the garbage out. It's a little bit less resistance. It's not so much of a demanding tone. If you say, hey, you know what, I'd like you to now take this out. You say, I'd like you to now make the decision to buy. You may begin to now feel good about this. You may begin to now feel comfortable working with our team. You may begin to now understand the value of this education as it applies to your goals to be successful in life. They're going to start to understand it at a different level. And this is just little bitty ideas, little bitty nuggets of communication skills that we're going to teach you. So I know I've been going for a little while here. What I want to do is kind of throw it back to Val. We talked about stimuli. We talked about the 4-step process of tying into the pain, differentiating claims, convincing people with language patterns. Hopefully I haven't given you too much to overwhelm you, but I have given you enough to want to know more. And Val, let's you and I kind of banter back and forth because this isn't our first rodeo together talking about this subject. But as you can see, I got a lot of stuff to give. Yeah, and normally I do this. I have big presentation screens and everything's timed out and everybody's got, but this is the first time I've ever done it where I didn't have a lot of that. So hopefully I've been able to get the idea across, the information across in a way that people are compelled to want to know more about how this neuromarketing, how this hypnotic sales training is going to work.
So I guess, I got a lot out of this. This was absolutely incredible. I was watching people's expressions and people were, really stoked about this. So Tom, thank you so much for, some great, incredible value there. But my question to you is this. So when I'm marketing on the internet, I'm at a disadvantage because I can't see the height of the person. Mm-hmm. So when I'm marketing on Facebook, should I ask people how tall they are so I can bring a box if I need to bring a box?
Well, here's what's interesting about this is it's kind of like, if you're going to bake a cake, right? Are you going to make chocolate chip cookies? And you have the recipe for Nestle's Toll House chocolate chip cookies. If you have the right recipe ingredients and you do things in the right order and you cook it for the right amount of time and the right temperature and you put it on the right kind of pan, you're going to get a similar result, correct? Usually. So what I'm saying to you is this. If you don't have the luxury or the ability to interact with your prospect or whoever it is you're communicating with, then by sticking to this process of communication that follows a pattern that's been shown. And here again, folks, what I'm saying to you is this. When you put an EEG machine on someone's head, or you put them into an MRI machine and we can see where the oxygen is activating part of the brain, we know that when we use these different types of things I'm sharing with you tonight, these different stimuluses, these different word patterns, these different phrases, in a specific order, the croc brain lights up like a Christmas tree under MRI. The EEG goes off the chain, and we now know that rather than ambiguously giving a lot of unnecessary information, we diagnose their pain, we show them what we have is going to solve their pain and to move them in the direction of whatever it is they want versus what they don't want. We've given them a clear path to make a decision, and then we've shown them what to do to take action to get it. No matter what we're doing, whether it's live in a presentation or communicating through video or writing it down on a piece of paper, if you follow the steps that appeal to the reptilian part of the brain, the croc part of the brain, you still increase the odds of compelling and persuading someone to take the next step. So that's how you handle that, is you simply stay within the parameters of the process, and the process tends to work.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Go ahead, Tom. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, more often than not. It's just, again, there's no such thing as a perfect outcome in sales. But you increase, it's just like training for any sport, or training to be a business professional, or training to be a hypnotist or an entertainer, or training to be an online network marketing professional. You increase your odds to succeed at anything if you find a duplicatable system that has, again, scientific data to back it up, which all has scientific data, and you follow that process. If you divert from that process, then you're taking a chance. But stay within the context of that process and improve your odds of success communicating more effectively and being more persuasive.
One of the things I really appreciated you saying a lot in your vocabulary tonight was the word you. You're addressing the audience, you. And on the internet, you don't hear a lot of you out there. You hear a lot of I out there, and you hear a lot of people preaching shortcuts. No wonder this industry is so dysfunctional. You talk about a recipe, and sometimes people try to figure out why they can't get grandma's apple pie to, stay together, the crust, the taste, the flavor, the everything. People are always looking for shortcuts. And the internet is a world of preachers out there. I call them false teachers out there preaching shortcuts. Take this shortcut, take that shortcut. Take the word you out of the equation. They want everybody to take the you out of the equation. And you come in here tonight and you reiterate how important it is for you to be in the equation. And that's exciting for me. That's validation, that's verification. And that's you and I living in two different worlds, never really having that discussion before since we met each other a few months back. So that's totally not can. But the word you is paramount, and it's a part of the art and science of building. It's a science. You basically came up with a science tonight. You basically validated that building a business or working with other human beings is a science, and it's totally evident in the language, the vocabulary, the body language. It's a total science, and anyone that says it's not, is just not worth following.
Well, yes, to your point, and you made a good point, Val.
You read it again.
You can't. Yeah, I'm read again, but I only want to put this out. We can make this available. We're going to rework this to fit into my own particular training style. But this is a roadmap of how to use these neuromarketing and subconscious selling techniques. And as we've talked about, you guys already have my material, but we're going to create a visual map that explains where to start with people, how to appeal to the brain, the 6 stimuli, the 4 steps, and then we're going to talk about 7 ways to overcome those negative objections and to present more effectively to lead you to a close. And the reason I brought that visual up is only because I worked really hard on about 10 visuals and they all overwhelmed the screen, but we're still in the matrix. So I wanted everybody to know that some of these visuals are going to be available through Mentoring Millionaires very, very soon. And we're going to do it in a way that it's easy to understand. And this is the first of many of these training sessions. And I think what's going to happen, Val, as we've talked about, is there's nothing like having someone teach you this and show you how to do it and then have them do it on someone real, live, and in person. And when that starts happening, it's going to literally, the light bulb's going to go off for people. It doesn't convey over video as effectively as I'd like it to. But hopefully tonight, to the folks that are watching, the 30 or 40 folks that are watching right now and the folks that are watching in the future, is we're giving you enough information to know that there's a secret to being more persuasive. And it's something you probably may have heard about, but no one's ever shown you how to do it. And if you're interested in listening to and learning from someone who's done it to tens of thousands of people consistently over 30 years, work with some of the top experts in the world to help you understand not only what it is, but how it works, and then more importantly, how to use it, then tonight is the first step on that journey for those of you that are on this particular broadcast, because you're hearing about it and there's a lot more to learn, but hopefully I've gotten you to listen to it enough to want to know more. And it's my privilege and my honor to be on this broadcast with you guys tonight, because I'm passionate about this. I love watching it work. I love seeing it help people. I love seeing it change people's lives. And as you guys know, all the reality shows and stuff that I've talked to you about that we're working on, it's about empowering people and helping change people. And if you can enhance people's ability to communicate and be more persuasive, you can enhance their ability to change their minds and change their lives, not only in themselves and but their prospects as well. So thank you guys for that opportunity tonight. And hopefully, we've given some folks some nuggets of wisdom and some ideas to think about, and they'll all bust in and write and say, we want more, and we can do some more specific training, maybe break these skill sets down even further for the folks on this broadcast.
Yeah, maybe in micro components would be great. Steph, do you have anything you want to ask any questions? Tracy, do you want to pop in there?
I just want to, I love Tom's always such wonderful information. Holy smokes. You really reinforce the fact, and I wrote this down about the visual stimulus, it's huge, and about all the emotional stuff. And that really reinforces about what we say about video, because you can't, the visual is so huge. And once you get that visual, you get that connection, the eyeball connection with people, then you can start seeing the emotional part of it. And that part for me really hit the nail on the head, because that's what we've been telling people about, and that's really what makes the difference about having the opportunity of the know, like, and trust. If you're not going to get that from an autoresponder, and I know Val, you always have things to say about that.
Well, people buy from people. That's the bottom line. And the difference that makes the difference is something caused you to fall in love with your spouse. Something caused you to buy your last car. Something caused you to buy the house because it fit the size and the location. There's something that you've bought in the past. And I challenge everyone on this call and on this broadcast to go back and identify some of the big decisions that you've made in your life, whether it was who you became associated with in work or at home and spouse, what car you bought, what business decisions you've made, who you've partnered with, and look at those decisions and really think about what was it that made you feel like that was the right decision to make at the time. Not all decisions are going to be right. Some are going to be wrong. Some are going to be, professional decisions. Some are going to be personal decisions. But at the end of the day, if you go back and really analyze what you've made decisions about, think about what caused you to make that decision. Was it because it was a great value? Was it because you had a certain car you wanted the Bugatti, you went and got it because that's the car you had in your mind, you visualized when you were 14 years old, whatever it is. But think about what made you buy and what persuaded you to do something, and then go back and analyze that and then extract from that how you can make other people feel that way. And if you can do that successfully 3 out of 4 times, you're going to increase your chances of success. You're going to increase your chances of closing any business, and you're going to improve your leverage on other people's relationships and your own, and you're going to make more money. So that's how this whole thing works. It's really not about us being, taking advantage of someone. It's really just making it clear for them that what we have to offer fits right into their plan. They just don't know it yet.
Perfect. Sorry, Tom. I speak while I'm muted out at the same time. That's why there's been a pause.
Okay. No, it's okay, man. I like the hair, man. It's good, nice for you. It's a good hair.
Yeah, man. No, that's really valuable information, and to be able to see that and participate in a live scenario and do role plays in a live environment will just really enhance the experience for sure. But hey, man, to do it on video tonight, taking notes and visualizing, I mean, it was fabulous. So we weren't really handicapped in the process. I don't think. It was just a really great process of enlightenment, understanding, and I guess what I really wanted to come out of tonight's call personally for me was, instead of me coming on here and telling people there's a better way, I wanted it to come from a different country, a different city. See, I'm up here in Canada, so it's coming from me, and everyone knows I've been yapping about this stuff for years. So it's Val. Now it's coming from you, so we can blame it on you. But it's just great to get validation to prove factually that the most powerful communication is you. You are the most powerful tool in the world. And I've been preaching that for years. You are the most powerful tool in the world. And like I said in one of the videos I just put out, a lead, a prospect, listen to this very carefully, guys, a lead and a prospect, no matter what these people tell you on the internet that are full of BS, a lead and a prospect is only as good as the communicator.
That's right.
There's no such thing as who's got the best leads in town, or this guy's got the best leads, or she has the best leads. No, they don't have anything. They have nothing for you until you learn how to communicate that, paint the canvas that's a pleasurable canvas, and cause that person to say, wow, that's the picture I want to buy. And that's what Tom did tonight. He painted the canvas for us and brought it out. And that's why people buy, because they love the canvas and what they see in that picture. There's some pictures out there that we present, people won't buy it because it's not them. It's not what they're relating to. It's not a part of their history. It's not a part of their life. It's not a part of their emotional connection, as Tom said. So right. Tom showed us how to dissect it and get into the emotion. Good job, Tom. That was great, man.
Thank you, man. And, at the end of the day, it's all about paradigm shifting. I mean, everybody that's listening to this right now or will be listening to it in the future, I want to, again, throw out a challenge to you. Everybody out there is a millionaire. Either you have $1 million or you have 1,000,000 excuses. And when something happens to you, is we've all had something happen. It's negative. Financial situations happen. Business deals don't go through. Partners take advantage of you and screw you. Everybody has something happening to them. Just ask Hillary Clinton right now. Somebody's having something happen to them right now. But at the end of the day, it's how you process every bit of information that you have, how you make new decisions, and how you present those ideas to other people. Ideas that get funded are the ideas that move and persuade the investors to feel like they're doing something. One of the best examples of this, and again, I'll throw this back to you guys, is if you watch the movie about Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was a master communicator. He was a master persuader. He created ideas that were not even in our contextual understanding yet about the iPhone and about the iPad and the shuffle and all these different ideas that came out of his ideas that no one had ever heard of, but he said, hey, just make it happen. Let's create it. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. But one of the most compelling questions that he's ever asked in any presentation was of John Scully when he was trying to lure him over from Pepsi. And he said, hey, man, let me ask you a question. Do you want to change the world or do you want to sell sugar water? Why did you go to school? Did you go to school to sell sugar water? You're already a multimillionaire. Why don't we do something really cool here? And John Scully said that was the single, no matter what presentations, stock options, equity positions, company cars, private jets, nice offices with big houses in Berkeley, California, and Cupertino, California, where they were based out of. He said it was that one question that caused me to flip from interested to compelled and from compelled to taking action. So ask better questions, tap into the wants, the needs, and the pains of your prospects, and show them how what you're doing, whether it's mentoring millionaires with our ringless voicemails, our educational process, our training programs. If you can find a better product for $400 with the people we have to train you, then please tell me about it because I'm going to sign up tomorrow. If you can find a better one, tell me because I'll sign up tomorrow. But you're not going to find one because that's why I'm here. I looked. There's not a better one. And Val, we know a lot of the same people. We know Falcone. We know Eric Worre. We know those guys. We know all the big hitters. They're all saying the same things because that's what's worked for them. But guess what? That's not working in the future. What's working in the future is technology, is social media, and being more persuasive and more compelling and having the edge in your communication. So that's what we're going to give you. This is just the beginning. And again, thank you guys for having me on tonight.
That was great, Tom. Thank you so much. And the biggest, what's the word I'm looking for? The biggest thing that's missing on the internet right now for everybody on the internet to be exposed to is this call. This is the biggest thing. The internet's out there right now, right? They're out there doing their thing. The biggest thing that they need right now, everyone needs to see this. This was a wake-up call tonight. This was a wake-up call, and nobody else has this. Nobody else has this call.
And nobody else is selling it, and everybody on this call has the opportunity to go sell it.
Yeah, sell it, share it, whatever it is. And the beautiful thing is like I tell people, we have everything that everybody would ever need, want, desire. And the really cool thing is nobody can say they have the same back office as us. Our products are exclusive. They can't take it. They can't steal it. And they can't just say, oh, well, I saw that in that company, or I saw that in this company, I saw that in this company. I mean, my gosh, what just happened tonight, man? I got to tell you something. Like this video, everybody on your friends list, anyone that you're all presently marketing with on the internet right now, you got to get at least 5 or 10 people to take a look at this presentation after we post it. Get them to look at it privately in a private conversation and just say, look, you want to know what the biggest thing that's missing on the internet right now? The person's going to say what? You got to see this. And if they have even 30% of a reptilian brain left, they'll be signing up through your back, right into your back office right away.
Yeah.
This one video tonight, the presentation tonight, this is the eye opener. This is the rude awakening. This will resurrect the living dead. And God only knows how many people are the living dead playing that role out there on the internet right now. This is great. This is the great stuff. This is the fruit of life, man. And I'm stoked about it. And I look forward to a live event and being able to see Tom get us go to town and see what happens when you all go up on stage without even knowing you're up on stage.
I see Steph hanging out over there, Val, and she's been chomping at the bit to say something for a while. And I also see there's a lot of chat going on. So I didn't know if there might be a few questions you guys could throw at me. I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Let's check it out. We got, it's like somebody said, like a franchise. Love the responses. You guys are a different plane. Priceless information. Oh, you know, it's a lot of very powerful, positive comments. You know, it's all good. Steph, very quickly, you know, do you want to say one or two things before we rock it out of here tonight? It's been a great call. So, Steph Perez, if you're out there on the line, ladies and gentlemen, Steph Perez, did you hear me, Steph? Would you like to make one or two statements?
No, honestly, no, I didn't really have anything to say. Surprise, surprise, I know. But this was powerful information. And I mean, you honestly said it all. This is a community everyone needs to be a part of. It's information that's not being shared out there. I'm in so many opportunities. And like Val said, I'm in so many back offices, and it's the same. This is different, and it's what the industry needs. It's where people are hurting. It's why people will say, I'm in XYZ program, you know, I'm positioned to make X amount of money. And while no one is making money, okay, no one's making money out there because they need this information. They need the X factor, and that's exactly what is in Mentoring Millionaires. And with what you heard right now, who else is doing this out there? You know, who else is sharing this information out there? You know, so for you guys that are in the program, I mean, if you can just get out there and share, you will get people who will align themselves and partner with this with you. You really, really will. You can't keep this as a secret and hold it to yourself. And for those of you that are not inside of this yet, you've got to find a way. You've got to find a way, because this is a business. It is a vehicle. It is an educational resource. And if you truly believe that you're worth it, and that this is worth it for you and for other people, you know what, $3.99 is just not a reason to not be involved. It's not a reason not to align yourself. You know, so
right there, Steph. And you know, it really boils down to this. This business is about three things. When I do my seminars, I call it STP3. STP3 is a very simple formula I came up with 20 years ago, and it's basically see the people, share the product, show the program. See the people. If people can't buy what they don't know about. Number two, share the products. We have an amazing product. Not only do we have an amazing product, but I've got a multi-billion-dollar company that was just fined for using robo-dialing, New York Life, that has thousands of agents looking for a solution that is not going to violate compliance. And guess what is the one prospecting tool that doesn't make a phone ring, that doesn't interfere with a person's day, that leaves them information to find out more about how they can get insurance from you with a free, absolutely free consultation about your life insurance needs? It's called ringless voicemail. Where else can you get somebody who's actually built dozens of video capture and video pages and video postcards for you? I've built websites that have costed me anywhere from $1,000 to $20,000. And for $400, not only can you get in a business that has all of this and more, you can get training. My trainings alone, and I'm not tooting my own horn, Val will validate this, is $10,000 an hour. So you're getting access to training, systems, processes, resources, and tools for basically the cost of a really nice night out in Vegas and a limousine ride home. So I challenge everybody out there to make some goals. STP3 says one more thing, Steph, I want to share with you. Since your name is Steph Perez, STP, here we go. See the people, share the product, show the program. The last one is called start the toilet paper. Because you take a roll of toilet paper and you pull off a square and you write a name on it. And by the time you get to the cardboard, you're going to talk to 200 or 300 people. And if you don't have an organization built and your one of them start creating income from you, then send me the roll and I'll personally pay you back. Because I promise you it works. It works. People want change. They want progress, but they don't want change. Growth is change. Change is uncomfortable. Therefore, growth is uncomfortable. You got to do what others want to have what others don't. And tonight, I hope I've been able to compel you with some training, some information that's not just about persuasion and influence, but about an opportunity. I've seen Robert say a couple of things here, asking about how to explain this opportunity in one sentence. You know, Robert, let me ask you a question. If there were a way that you could enter into a business that's got a multi-billion-dollar series of technology behind it, that not only has the resources, the tools, the training, and the systems and the mentors, if I could show you how to invest in a company that has all of these things and has a residual pay stream for less than $500, would you be interested? If I could show you a way to get all of these things, training, tools, technology, mentoring, coaching, from people who make millions of dollars doing it every day for less than the cost, of a really nice night out. Would you be interested? And if someone says no, they're not serious about changing their lives. So boil down the questions to your style. Take the science, put your art to it, make it your own. Ask better questions, get better responses, but ask more people more questions, and you'll get your business going that way. Boil it down to what works for you, Robert.
Yeah, this is going to be great, Tom. Thank you so much. So on behalf of Tom, Tracy, myself, and, for all of you wonderful people that popped in on tonight's call, that was just an introductory. That's kind of like, a little bit of the appetizers. You sit down. The main course is going to be a live event. And, there's some really, really fabulous income to be earned at a live event. So if you made, X amount of dollars, so just, if you're making $5,000 for every student that went to a live event, that's a lot. I don't know. So if you had like 30 times 5.
Hey, just get them there. Just get them there, Val. I'll hypnotize them from that point forward.
Yeah, we'll just hypnotize them. So everyone will be there. All right? Nobody will miss out on that. So, but anyhow, Tom, thanks so much. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. It was an honor and treat to be able to present before all of you tonight for all of us. And it was great. So I look forward to next Sunday's call. We're going to jam it out, another jam session. And happy Halloween tomorrow night for those of you that celebrate that. I'll be out with the kids, of course. And I'm just so excited, man, that the energy, the vibration, everything is right. And it's been a long time, the last several years, since I felt really good about something and feeling an energy and a vibration that's right. I know we're doing the right thing, and I know we're doing it for the right reasons, and that's all I'm going to say. So cheerio, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful evening. God bless. Bye for now.